Today we'll be going over the top 5 decks under $50. There's going to be something for everyone in this video between meta, wacky, off-meta, stall, so make sure you watch to the very end and to see all the decks in this video. Everything will be in USD and based off TCG player market price. Please enjoy the decks. The first deck I will be showing off is this Radiant Charizard Lost Zone box deck. This was a top 64 list from EUIC, and I think Radiant Charizard Lost Zone box is definitely one of the top ways to play Lost Zone box. Right now, you have powerful single prize tie attackers like Cramorant and Sableye, as well as a big late game one-shot attacker like Radiant Charizard. We're packing one Mawile just to have a good shot into the Gardevoir matchup, and other than that, we have some Cross Switchers for a little extra switching and a little gust power. Beach Court is incredibly powerful for switching cards. The reason why this deck is fairly cheap is because we only play one ultra rare card, and despite Charizard being a Radiant and being Charizard, is relatively affordable. So if you wanted to buy this deck yourself, just purely off TCG player, it would run you about $48, and I think it is definitely one of the strongest picks in the current standard format. Now on to perhaps the most wacky deck in this video. This is a Rapid Strike box deck. It also got top 120 at the EUIC, and this is a bit of everything. We have the Empoleon to lock down that Lost Zone box matchup. We have Urshifu, as of course, that Rapid Flow is very powerful in the single prize matchups. We have Drapion to deal with Mew, Duraludon to deal with Lugia. Carnivine can serve as retreat lock for the Gardevoir matchup. Medicham, of course, is great in all Rapid Strike decks to be able to take an extra prize. And Radiant Alakazam just helps us move damage counters around to set up Medicham plays. So this is definitely more of a counter box style deck, more anti-meta deck. One of my favorite plays you can make with this deck is sticking a Scroll of Swirls on an Empoleon, because then even if they have Manaphy on their bench, since Empoleon's Emperor's Eyes ability shuts it off, we can just keep spreading like all over their roster, evolving basic Pokemon and quickly knock out all their guys. So if you wanted to buy this deck off TCG Player, it would cost you about $41. And overall, I think this deck is pretty solid. It's definitely not the most reliable deck on this list, but it can still get the job done sometimes. Alright, so you want a bit more of a meta deck. I got you. This is a Gardevoir EX list, and this is not quite your orthodox Gardevoir list, but we are leaning heavily into that Klefki package to try to slow down Lost Zone box decks. And we have that Hatterene V, which has that cool attack that allows you to hit and run back into the Klefki. If you wanted to, if you were afraid of those low and full pick stacks that popped up at UIC, you could definitely consider adding a Mimikyu EX to this deck list without very much added expense. I was certainly surprised when I found that you could buy this deck for under $50. If you wanted to buy this deck yourself, it would cost you about $45. And I thought Gardevoirs were more expensive, honestly, but I really like how accessible the Pokemon trading card game has gotten. And just buying singles seems to be as cheap as ever. Gardevoir with that Psychic Embrace ability just allows you to load up attackers basically freely, making Zacian V one of the strongest Pokemon in the game. I do love Penny in this list because it shuts down those annoying retreat lock strategies against you. And Heavy Temple of Sinnoh also comes in handy against Mew and Lugia. So Gardevoir definitely solidifies itself as one of the best decks in the format, and I'm very surprised how cheap you can get. If you want a deck that can ruin all your friendships, I got this one for you here. This is a Snorlax style deck that utilizes that block Snorlax to trap Pokemon in play, so whenever our opponent drops unnecessary Pokemon, we can just gust it up and block it in there, and then they can't really move things. And even if they don't want to bench stuff against us, we can use that Manaphy promo to force them to drop things for us. We have two of the Celebrations Yveltals for a little energy disruption. We even have Miltank if they just try to use only Pokemon V against us. Radiant Czarina gives us a little heal option if they're just using 20 damage, like we trap something that's very weak in the active spot that's only doing 20 damage. We can just keep healing over and over again, and then they never can knock us out. And Pidgeot V is pretty cool because it allows us to never deck out. Arven is an amazing support in this deck because we are mostly item based. And I really like this deck a lot. I'm just generally been more of a troll deck, control player myself. And this deck is pretty solid. And being the cheapest deck on this list, you can pick it up for just about $28. It's definitely a very funny one. It's probably the least competitive one on this list, but it is very funny to face, to just dominate those top meta decks, and definitely can leave your friends raged after you beat them with this funny strategy. Maybe that first Lost Zone box deck wasn't your cup of tea. You prefer maybe a stronger late game, or just a higher skill deck in general. Well, I got you. This is a Lost Zone box deck utilizing the Kyogre from Celebrations. Of course, she's one of the most powerful late game attackers, being able to take 4 prizes in a single attack, And then I'm also using that Galarian Moltres, which serves a similar purpose to the Radiant Charizard. It's a very strong late game attacker itself, being able to reach up to 270 damage. It also has weakness on Gardevoir and most of the attackers that deck plays. Snorlax is just a great generalist, being able to trade very well with most single prizers. We of course have that usual Lost Zone box core with the Sableye, Cramorant, Colress, and also have Hawlucha making an appearance in this list. It just is a great card for the mirror match, and I slightly for this one over the Radiant Charizard one just because of Radiant Greninja. That consistency boost that it provides is just pretty awesome. It's really the reason why this deck works, because we have so many bad cards we don't like drawing in the early game until we get like 7 into the Lost Zone, or just get later into the game where we can pull off Kyogre. Radiant Greninja is basically the glue that keeps this thing running. I like Echoing Horn, of course, is just very cool to use that Kyogre play late in the game. Like, we can just drop a Lumineon or some unwanted Pokemon V onto their bench and then snipe it for an extra 2 prizes. This one is slightly cheaper than the first one, coming in at almost $40. And I want to know what you guys think. What do you think of these budget decks, or do you have a budget deck yourself that you like to play? I'd like to hear it in the comment section down below. And are there any of these decks that you want to try to build yourself? I'd like to hear it all. And I just want to thank you guys for all the support. If you enjoy this kind of content, you learned something, you got something from it, please consider subscribing and liking this video. And I hope you have a great rest of your day. And this has been all Blitzel, and I'll catch you in the next one.